Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, I want to go talk about some pretty rough things going on over here where we're now seeing game companies just absolutely falling apart. Now, if you guys have probably had a chance to go and see, we've been seeing a lot of games, some not making a lot of money, some entertainment things completely flopping, and at the end of the day, I think people are being a lot more selective on where and how they spend their money. And I would want to be one of those big proponents that I'm not a big fan of spending my money on very mediocre games, cash grab games, cash grab movies, and games that lack soul, that lack substance. And there may have been a time throughout the big old lands that someone may go drop a $60 on a random game to see if it's good or not, but especially with how prevalent things like YouTube reviews, IGN reviews, or even things like people on Twitch where you pop on, you can see someone playing the game live for 3 minutes and make your opinion from that, it kind of makes it a little bit harder to go and sell a flop. And that's actually what's been ongoing right this second, where there's been a lot more big AAA games where people are spending millions upon millions of dollars, they're not making that money back, and they are basically realizing that gaming is not in this huge big bubble that we may have been these past few years, especially in the pandemic with a lot more people having free money, less worry about the economy, and more people at home or even working from home. So let's go talk about the fact that some of this stuff has got a little bit more on the crazy side. Some game companies are now reporting earnings even this week that are horrible, and some games are completely bankrupting companies. So let's go talk about it. Make sure you guys check out the Target links down below. We're still doing a Target ongoing campaign, so check those all on out if you guys are interested in any of the products and click them on down. We have the Twitter and Twitch trim down below in case you guys like to follow, and of course subscribe and give me all your thoughts and comments down below. So I want to show you guys one that kind of sparked the subject of this video. And as I mentioned, the economy has been a little bit on the wonky side. First and foremost, this game right here, flop, absolute flop. The Warner Brothers now basically had a chance to come out, give their details during their kind of earnings report, like, working with companies, telling shareholders how much money they made, etc. Saying the Warner Bros. Games revenue is now down 41% during Q2, specifically due to the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Now, I'm sure you guys have heard, I've even roasted this game myself. This game was garbage. This game missed the mark. This game wasted millions of dollars, and they did try, but this game was never going to do well. It just did not look fun. It did not look thought out. They had to delay it. And even right now, if you look at this on the Steam charts, bro, there's 174 people playing this game, which is higher, and I'll be honest with you guys, higher than I ever expected. But the biggest thing is the highest all-time peak was only ever 13,000, which is horrible. Like when it first came out, and this is meant to be more of like a live service-y type superhero game, and people are meant to be like doing stuff and playing with your friends or whatever. Bro, like you have to probably beg your friends to even sign on to the game. Got as low as 100 players, and that's just horrible. This is why a lot of people were assuming Concord was going to be dead on arrival, because this was the open beta stats, maybe obviously a little bit higher, more around this range, but this range, as you guys can see from the evidence in front of you, turns into this very quickly, let alone if it's a multiplayer game that's purely PvP and then matchmaking takes longer, you leave the game. The game itself, you're playing against the same people, you leave the game. You have those few tryhards that you just hate playing against. They're playing the most annoying, best characters because they like winning. You leave the game. Your friends don't like it because everyone else is leaving the game. You leave the game, And this is kind of what happened over here. And they spent a lot of money. I'm sure you guys understand, but spending all this money on big IPs, big name IPs, is very costly, let alone also like having Harley Quinns and various characters or having Batman, voice actors, whatever. So this is a one example of many others. We'll get to this a little bit more throughout the video, but things like, say, Borderlands, horrible. Like that game, that movie is flopping. And it kind of goes to show that people don't want trash. Some people might, if they're dumb, or just giving it a shot, or some people even enjoy watching movies or playing games that are downright horrible to review them or make fun of them or even stream them for the memes. But I don't think most people like that. So right now, Warner Brothers Games revenue has apparently declined 41%. That is huge. Year on year. The company announced as part of its financial report for its Q2 2024, which is a 3 months ended June 30th. The company doesn't provide detailed figure within its studios segment, which also has, TV and film, but said the decrease in games revenue was due to the weak performance of the SSKJL, especially compared to the success of Hogwarts Legacy in 2023. And that leads into the even on a more intriguing part. I don't think it covers throughout this article, but they were also trying to go and then sell these IPs, whether they work with another company like an Ubisoft, EA, PlayStation Studios, Xbox, and they kind of be like, hey, we can quite literally go make the next Harry Potter game. They're probably going to keep that one because that was a banger, but like, hey, we can make that. Or you want to go make a random Justice League game, or want to go make the Flash game, or whatever IPs Warner Brothers may own. They're like, hey, Xbox, you want to make one? Like, you help us, we'll help you. We give you the IP and maybe make it. We'll throw a little bit of money. We'll maybe go 50-50, like whatever they want to go and do and decide to do at the end of the day. And well, that's the intriguing part, is that they could go do that, and they probably need to because they're not making a lot of money. Like, these games are flopping. Like, losing 41% is basically half your revenue, like rounding up, obviously, but like, that's a lot of money. And this is where there's like a huge, big video games bubble going on, because you're spending $200 million on a game, and if you have one game that flops, your whole business is completely destroyed. And don't forget, these video games sometimes take 4, 5, 6, sometimes 8 years to go make. Look at like the most recent, like Skyrim, Starfield game, not Starfield, of course, Elden Ring. Yeah, I swear. Elder Scrolls. You know, Jesus Christ. This is where like you get roasted in the comment. That was like 4 different games in a row, my bad. Basically, they announced that many years ago. Look at Cyberpunk. Took such a long time. Duke Nukem. These games in development hell that never actually come out. Or if they do, they're spending millions of dollars. Look at Halo. They lost probably so much money on Halo. So the fact that it basically crippled Halo for a long period of time. And of course, Halo has enough of an IP to be strong, but some of these other games are not. And some of these other companies are smaller and they don't have Microsoft money or PlayStation money backing them. Like, we saw that some of the PlayStation games can cost like $200 million to make, and they have to sell millions of copies for the game to make money. Games like Ratchet and Clank, I believe, still have not even turned a profit, or if it is, it's very, very small amounts of profit. And that has its own issues, probably just releasing too early, PS5 exclusive, whatever. But it just goes to show that not every game's going to make money. And this bubble is now popping because people obviously realize that a lot of games are mediocre and a lot of things are not going so hard. Like, look how I mentioned, people are being like, Concord's going to suck, and they spent a lot of money, I'm sure, on that game. That animation alone is probably millions upon millions of dollars, let alone development, marketing costs, characters, DLCs, like server cost, everything. And we have no idea if people are going to actually play the game. Most likely not. A lot of people probably won't. And we're even seeing things like Unity, how people make video games, are just still losing money. Now, I would still think good games are going to be fine. Studios like PlayStation or Xbox, people still buy these games. If there is a God of War that comes out tomorrow, I'm buying it. If there is a random Last of Us 3, I'm buying it. But some games like maybe Astrobot, which I actually kind of want to go buy, is where the risk comes in. Now, that game's not going to cost $50 million, but what if Blade, the Xbox Game Pass game that's been rumored and trailered on out, what if that game flops? What if it sucks? What about the Indiana Jones game? That probably costs a lot of money in the IP to go make. So, like, what if they just flop? What if they just suck? What if it's just sad, you know? Like, what if it's just not a good vibe? And it really does seem like gaming is in really big trouble, because they're saying that these companies are now not even growing. They're like not getting more people making games. They have net losses declined about 35%, decreasing from $193 million to $126 million. So people using these game companies like Unity are not making as much money. They're switching to other platforms. Things like Borderlands, trying to go make money off the movie, and they're not. Like, they're probably going to lose a lot of money unless like China brings it up somehow. I don't know. But it's just not making money. And unless you're like those top tier developers or indie, I'm always a big fan in pushing indie games. I love indie games. You're not making a lot of money right now. The gaming spot is in a very weird standstill, and it almost feels like it's in another secondary bubble compared to everything else going on. And that's not good. We've seen video game bubbles before, although at the end of the day, a few years afterwards, it kind of cleared out all the bloatware and kind of have a nice refresher for video games as a whole. So maybe we need that. Maybe we need that bubble to pop when it comes to games, because right now a lot of things are not doing good. So I want to hear your thoughts on all of this down below. Hope you guys appreciated the video too as well. Check out all the Target links down below too as well, in case you guys would like to. For the holiday summer sales, we have the Twitter, Twitch. Subscribe if you guys are new. And of course, I want to hear all of your thoughts and comments on everything down below. And I appreciate you guys all very much for watching.